What song cover is so famous, most people don't know it's a cover? Hound Dog by Elvis Presley was originally recorded by Big Mama Thornton. The one that comes to mind is Tainted Love. I thought the soft cell version from 1982 was the original, but it was originally recorded by Motown artist Gloria Jones 17 years before. My brother told me that Girls Just Wanna Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper is actually a cover. Looked it up, he's right. I had no idea. I Will Always Love You. House of the Rising Sun. It was a folk song for nearly a century before the Animals covered it. Cocaine, written by J.J. Cale. Made famous by Eric Clapton. Can't Help Falling in Love, Suspicion Minds, Jailhouse Rock, Devil in Disguise, Burning Love, Blue Suede Shoes and In the Ghetto. All songs made famous by Elvis and everyone is a cover. Black Magic Woman by Santana. It's a Mick Fleetwood Peter Green song, originally performed by Fleetwood Mac. J.J. Cale wrote and recorded Cocaine, After Midnight, both Clapton and Call Me the Breeze. Before he died, he was asked in an interview if it bothered him that everyone knew his songs but few knew him. His reaction? "You've obviously never received a royalty check from Eric Clapton." Respect was written by Otis Redding but Aretha Franklin made it her own. X200B. Ditto Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower as performed by Jimi Hendrix. Killing Me Softly was written and first performed by Lori Lieberman. Blinded by the Light Bruce Springsteen. Anything UB40 Does. Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll originally by The Arrows. Annie Lennox. No More I Love You'd, originally by The Lover Speaks. Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. I Fought the Law. Angel from Montgomery by Bonnie Raitt. It was originally written and performed by John Prine. I think he heard Bonnie Raitt perform it and then he gave it to her. Hooked on a Feeling by Blue Swede. Originally by B.J. Thomas, they were the third band to record it but the first to really accomplish anything lasting with it. Billy Joel wrote Shameless to be a Hendrix homage, but accidentally wrote a smash country hit for Garth Brooks instead. Not so much a remake but Carole King's A Natural Woman came on the radio back when my daughter was about 12. She thought it was interesting how Carole's version was just the piano and thought it was interesting how she made it so low-key compared to Aretha Franklin's original that had horns and backup singers and everything. My daughter was blown away when I told her Carole wrote it. I Swear, performed by All For One. John Michael Montgomery recorded the song a year prior. Both versions ended up top 10, so that's pretty neat. I Heard It Through the Grapevine. The Miracles and Gladys Knight. The Pips recorded versions of it before Marvin Gaye did. Gladys Knight's version came out first. A year later, Marvin Gaye's version was released and it was a massive hit. I believe at that time, the top two best-selling Motown singles were their versions of I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Jet Airliner Steve Miller Band. The original by Paul Pena is really good. Come On Feel the Noise covered by Quiet Riot. Originally by Slade. Hard to Handle, from the Black Crowes. It's Otis Redding's song. I Think We're Alone Now. I was surprised when I found out how many Zeppelin songs are old blues covers. Hard to Handle by the Black Crowes was originally by Otis Redding. Torn. 1985 Bowling for Soup is the version most folks know about but it was written by SR-71. Mad World. I remember when it came out from Gary Jules, pretty much overshadowed the original by Tears for Fears. I liked them both, but I grew up on Tears for Fears. Love Hurts Nazareth original by the Everly Brothers. Bobby McGee by Janis Joplin was written by her man Chris Christopherson and recorded by a man first. Poncho and Lefty. Made famous by Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard, written and originally performed by the late Townes Van Zandt. Manfred Mann's Earth Band's Blinded by the Light. A cover of Bruce Springsteen's song. Both David Lee Roth's Just a Gigolo and Anna Kendrick's Cups were written back in the 1930s. Istanbul, Not Constantinople by They Might Be Giants was originally released by the Four Lads. The Beatles' version of Twist and Shout. Twist and Shout was written by Phil Medley and Burt Russell in 1961. It was originally recorded by the Top Notes, but it did not become a hit in the record charts until it was reworked by the Isley Brothers in 1962. Life is a Highway cover by Rascal Flatts. The original band doesn't mind because they get a ton of royalties. All Along the Watchtower Jimi Hendrix. A Message to You Rudy by The Specials. It's such an iconic song that most people don't realize it was original by Dandy Livingstone. A lot of hits from the two-tone years were covers of Jamaican originals. Farther back, a lot of hit songs from Jamaican ska and reggae oldies are covers of Motown, soul and gospel songs. The Man Who Sold the World is a David Bowie song. From the Wikipedia page regarding the Nirvana cover. In the wake of its release, Bowie bemoaned the fact that when he performed the number himself, he would encounter kids that come up afterwards and say, "It's cool you're doing a Nirvana song. And I think, fuck you, you little tosser." Venus, by Bananarama. Once Bitten Twice Shy. I only learned a couple weeks ago that Great White covered that song, which was originally by Ian Hunter. Wagon Wheel, Darius Rucker. Amy Winehouse's Valerie. Shake, Rattle and Roll. Big Joe Turner, not Bill Haley and the Comets. Proud Mary was covered by Tina Turner. It was written and first recorded by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Wagon Wheel. Originally written by Bob Dylan and Ketch Secker, and performed by Old Crow Medicine Show. Covered by seemingly everyone with a guitar. All Along the Watchtower and Knocking on Heaven's Door were both by Bob Dylan. Love Buzz by Nirvana was originally done by Shocking Blue. A lot of people saying All Along the Watchtower by Hendrix. But nobody mentioning that Hey Joe is also a cover. I'd say the Monkees' I'm a Believer, originally by Neil Diamond. Crazy by Patsy Cline, originally by Willie Nelson. Hey guys, has anyone mentioned that Hurt is performed by Johnny Cash was originally by Nine Inch Nails? Oh, only every post in this thread mentioned IT? Okay, just checking. Springsteen's cover of Jersey Girl. The original Tom Waits version is pretty great. The Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead by the Crash Test Dummies might be a lot more familiar to Canadians, originally by Ecstasy. Don't know if it's been said but Killing Me Softly isn't by the Fugees, it's by Charles Fox and Laurie Lieberman, who sang it in 1972. Make You Feel My Love by Adele is also a Bob Dylan song. Sorry if someone mentioned this already. Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now. A lot of Led Zeppelin. Whole Lotta Love, When the Levee Breaks, You Shook Me, In My Time of Dying, etc. Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor is a Prince cover. Poncho and Lefty. Made famous by Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard, written and originally performed by the late Townes Van Zandt. Downtown Train was not a Rod Stewart song. Tom Waits wrote it about taking the train to visit his girlfriend. Tennessee Whiskey was done by George Jones and David Allan Coe before Chris Stapleton made it so huge. Odd how I haven't seen Goldfinger's 99 Red Balloons here. I only recently discovered that Gangsta's Paradise is a cover of, or heavily samples, Pastime Paradise by Stevie Wonder. Higher Ground, covered by Red Hot Chili Peppers, originally by Stevie Wonder. All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix, originally by Bob Dylan. Valerie by Amy Winehouse, originally by the Zootons. Hurt by Johnny Cash, originally by Nine Inch Nails. House of the Rising Sun by the Animals, originally a medieval pub ballad. Respect by Aretha Franklin, originally by Otis Redding. American Woman by Lenny Kravitz, originally by the Guess Who. Knocking on Heaven's Door, one of the most famous Guns N' Roses song, a Bob Dylan cover. Edit: I wrote the wrong song title first lol. They Don't Know by Tracy Ullman is actually a cover of a 1979 Kirsty MacColl song. Last Kiss not by Pearl Jam, but by Wayne Cochran. It's weirdly upbeat song considering the subject. Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan, covered by Garth Brooks. Amish Paradise is actually a parody. Personal Jesus. I remember when Marilyn Manson came out with his cover, then came Gravity Kills, Johnny Cash, even Sammy Hagar. It became covered quite a bit that I asked friends if they knew Depeche Mode was the original artist. They said no. The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Cocaine. After Midnight. Call Me the Breeze. All J.J. Cale. I Think We're Alone Now by Tiffany. It was first recorded by Tommy James and the Shondells. Tiffany's version went to the top of the charts and stayed there for weeks until it was unseated by Billy Idol's Money Money, which was also first recorded by Tommy James and the Shondells. Come On Feel the Noise is originally a song by the band Slade. Quiet Riot's version is a cover. Bad Case of Lovin' You by Robert Palmer was a Moon Martin cover. Proud Mary Rolling on the River Ike and Tina Turner. Originally written and performed by John Fogerty and CCR. Hard to Handle. Istanbul Not Constantinople is not a They Might Be Giants original. It was a hit in the early 1950s. Respect by Aretha Franklin was actually written by Otis Redding. Mariah Carey's Without You, originally performed by Badfinger. Tainted Love. Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. La Bamba, not by Richie Valens. It was a folklore song from Mexico.